The unicorn in real estate lead generation. So just last week, I was on a phone call with a whole bunch of team leaders who were top producing teams within their brokerages, and we were doing a mastermind on lead generation, and I was asked to come in and do a Q&A with these people. One thing that I thought was really, really interesting is every question that I was asked was all about lead source and what was the best lead source. Should I use Zillow? Should I use Realtor.com? Should I use Google Ads? All those type of things. But the really interesting thing to me is not a single person asked about how they could improve the conversion rate of the leads that they're already getting. You see, I think we have a big problem in real estate, and I think ultimately we're all searching for the unicorn when it comes to real estate lead generation. Let's face it, even the best performing lead generation sources for your real estate leads have very low conversion rates. Some of the best sources that I know of that I've ever been able to find are really good at like 4%. So I think all too often in real estate, we need to really focus on how can we make better conversion rates out of the leads that we're already getting instead of always searching for new lead generation sources. So today I want to give you three things that I've seen over the last 18 months when it comes to consulting with teams and brokerages that I think have made the biggest difference when it comes to conversion rate. And it has nothing to do with lead source and everything to do with the follow-up and the systems that you're using once those leads come in from whatever lead source they are to your CRM and dished out to your agents. Now, this list is mostly going to be based on teams and large brokerages, but I do think as a solo agent, you're going to be able to take some value out of this. Number one is a lack of defining who your actual target audience is. All too often, I will meet with a broker or a brokerage owner or a team leader, and we'll start talking about lead generation. And one of the first questions I ask them is, who is your target audience? Because ultimately, if you're not asking that question, it's really hard to frame a lead generation campaign around an unknown person who you're trying to target. And what I find a lot of the time is that people like to get just very general, like we want sellers in this market. Well, okay, but let's be real. If you want to focus on your conversion rate, you need to really identify which sellers you want in your market because it's not just a matter of getting them into your funnel from lead generation campaigns, but it's a matter of nurturing them to the actual closing table. Because let's face it, in real estate, we make $0 by getting people into the funnel. We make dollars at the closing table. Number two is, in my opinion, and what I've seen, real estate deals die between the steps. And what I mean by that is when we bring somebody in the funnel, normally you lose people out of your funnel between the steps. So, for example, when you first come in, they're at the very top of the funnel. They're just looking, they just want information. They're not ready to do anything. You're going to lose a good percentage of the people from that step to the step of pre-approval, and then a good portion of those to the actual showing process, and a portion of those to the actual writing offer process. In order to be more efficient when it comes to your conversion rates, if you can make those transitions much smoother between, when someone comes into your funnel and get into the pre-approval process, in my opinion, especially that one has to do everything with the way that you handle the lender handoff and also how you the systems that you put in place with your lenders to help do that. Because let's face it, if you can keep more people through each step of the process, you're going to get more to the closing table. But all too often, what I see is we focus on one section, or what I see a lot of the time is we focus on objection handling over and over again, but we don't focus on the other steps of the process. And so what happens is by the time you even get to the point where you can handle an objection, you have nobody in your funnel anymore, or very few people. So ultimately, if teams and brokerages can really focus on the handoffs between the steps and retaining people at a higher percentage, that obviously is going to get you more people to the bottom of the funnel. Number three, and this one I think is absolutely huge right now, and it is the reliance on scripts. Look, I get it. If you're running a team, you're busy, you're doing things systematically, and we're teaching scripts. But ultimately, scripts are getting less and less effective in real estate. And it's because, let's face it, all these scripts are out on the internet now. One of the biggest things with scripts is they have to have the zing factor. But if your client has already heard all these before they even got into your lead generation funnel through social media, they don't hold a lot of value. The other thing, the scripts are really, really transactional based. They're not consultative selling. These scripts that we're using in real estate really are very transactional from the standpoint of they get the real estate agent what they want and ultimately not what the client wants. I think we have to look at where we're at right now when it comes to our client makeup. And clients these days are more educated than ever about the process because of the internet. So ultimately, what I'm seeing is these teams that are relying heavy on scripts are teaching these scripts, and their agents are very, very good at talking the script. The problem is the second that a client hits on something outside the box of the script, they don't know what to say. And then that is compounded by the fact that once they don't know what to say, they weren't listening because they were so focused on the script. And the whole conversation just goes way, way downhill, slippery slope. You lose your lead. So ultimately, the high reliance on scripts. So here's what I think is a much better option. Instead of teaching your team or your agents or whatever scripts, teach them the principles behind the scripts. Teach them to listen to clients and cater the script to that client. Because ultimately, this is all consultative selling. It's all about listening to the client and helping them with their problem. A lot of the problem with scripts is they're focused on how you help somebody else with their problem. And let's face it, clients these days just don't care. So ultimately, I think if you put these three things in your business, you will increase your conversion rate. And I think it also puts the precedent on the fact that we're going to stop focusing on the unicorn lead generation source. Just focus on the lead sources you're having. Now, yes, if you're not bringing in enough leads, I understand that. And if you think you're struggling with that, reach out, book a call with me, and we can talk about what you're doing. But what I'm seeing is most of the time, this has nothing to do with the amount of leads and everything to do with the conversion rate being very, very low within your real estate lead generation ecosystem.